Hey, Brennan here. Welcome to the channel, and thanks for tuning in. Well, if you play the Devy and C2C fantasy football formats, man, you are going to love this show. It's mid-July. Season's right around the corner, and Jason DeRienzo, my podcast co-host, we did a episode where we talked about our favorite Devy players. In this show specifically, we're going to give you each, I think, 5 names, a total of 10, I think, and we think are undervalued Devy assets, right? If you don't know what Devy is and you play Dynasty and you've come across this video, it's basically a format of fantasy football where it's an expansion of a Dynasty league where we're drafting college football players early in, before they're drafted to the NFL. And so these are players that if you do play Dynasty, that you may be drafting in your 2026 and 2027, and in some cases 2028 drafts. That's right. That's how deep we get on this channel. But we're going to give you guys 10 names, players that we think over the course of this upcoming season are going to increase in value that might actually reach and get into our top 50. So these are between our 50 and 100 favorite Devy players. These are the 5 guys each that we like, that we're looking forward to watching this season. Fall ball's right around the corner, man. Let's not waste any more time. Enjoy the show. Instead of us, Jason, going through our top, 51 through 100 one by one, let's talk about 5 players that we think after a good season this year, if we were to do this exercise again, let's say in October, November, after half the season in college football, that might end up in our top 50. So we're going to talk about 5 players each that are in our 51 through 100 top 100 that we would like, that we hope to see increase in value. And I want to know if you've got a share or not in any of your Devy leagues as we discuss each of these players, because I'm just curious. Okay, so I'm going to let you start us off on give me one of your 5 players and we'll kick it off.
Now, my number 58 player in my top 100 is Jordan Lyall, the running back out of Miami. They had Mark Fletcher there last year, Damian Martinez, and they could not keep this kid off the field. And when he got on the field, you saw the explosiveness. He's a bit undersized. I think he's listed at like 190. But the NFL doesn't really care about size. If you're a playmaker, you get in space and you can make moves and you could be an absolute yards after the run, or take the ball and get as many yards as possible if they get you an open space. And this kid is a great pass catcher. He's explosive. The acceleration is there. The speed is there. He really popped off on film in the high school film that I watched. So I got excited for him right out the gate. And it was pleasant surprise because I didn't think he was going to sniff the field with those 2 running backs at Miami last year. And they gave him run and he looked great every time he had an opportunity. So I am very excited about Lyall this upcoming season.
Yeah, I got him. He is in my top 100 as well. The first guy I want to talk about is Bo Jackson, a guy that you just spoke about. He's in your top 50. He's in my of next tier Ohio State running back. Just drafted him in my first C2C supplemental draft and got a share of him in Ohio State. And James People and the CJ Donaldson kid from West Virginia is most likely going to be the 1 or 2, but he's getting some playing time in the spring a little bit. There's buzz about him, and I hope he gets some playing time in the blowout wins that Ohio State hopefully have this year. It's going to be really interesting with this quarterback situation, how Ohio State, it's one of the big storylines, actually. I'm really excited to see how Sayan, if he can elevate this game. But Bo Jackson is a player that, again, starting to watch that high school film, really popped out. He's number 5 running back in the 28 class coming in. He's having a good spring. So he's somebody that, now that I've got a share, I'd like to see him get some run, and hopefully we can kind of see, kind of like what we did with what's his name, James People, that we got. Last year we got to see him as a true freshman get those blowout games and get some film that we can look at. But Bo Jackson's somebody I'm pretty excited about.
He looks explosive. I mean, he's that dual like pass catching, high upside, explosive type running back. Yeah, he fits very, very well. I'm gonna go with Texas A&M true freshman wide receiver Jerome Miles, who reminds me a lot of Ryan Wingo coming out with some more savvy as a route runner. Man, he is explosive off the snap. He eats in the cushion quickly. He's got that long speed to take the top off of defense as well. And I love his navigation and zone. Very physical at the catch point, just yards after the catch ability with, how explosive he is in the open field. I think he is a do-it-all type of receiver with high upside and he is listed at 6'2", 210 pounds. Again, just it was almost like watching Ryan Wingo all over again. So very excited about Jerome Miles going to Texas A&M this season.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's going to be interesting if see if he gets any playing time. It's got a deep
Yeah,
wide receiver room over there. Hopefully, we can see what he's got on the field this year. But I like that call a
sure.
lot. I'm going to talk about a quarterback who I've talked about as a deep dive player, I think months ago on the podcast, Austin Simmons, QB Ole Miss. I've got 2 shares of this kid. He is going to be starting for Ole Miss without a doubt this year. 6'4", 215 pounds. Listen to this. This guy completed his coursework, his high school coursework, with a 5.34 GPA at age 16. Okay.
Wow.
And he left his Miami home to enroll in Ole Miss 2 years early. The kid is 19 years old, and he's going to be starting for Ole Miss this year. And what an opportunity. And we're going to see, we talk about intangibles matter, right? We've
Yeah.
spoken about, we're going to see real quick, like this kid's smart, right? So in between the ears, at least from his history, it looks like he has that. But I think the guy's 6'4", 215 pounds, didn't show a ton of mobility in his limited reps last year. But man, the guy has an arm and can throw it all over the field, and he's dedicated himself to football. He's a multi-sport athlete, and I don't know. I'm just super excited. He's buried in my top 100, but I've got 2 shares, and I'm like, he's one of the most excited to watch players for me going into this upcoming season. I'm going to be watching a lot of Ole Miss games.
Nice. Yeah, that's a big deal, those intangibles and the intelligence at the quarterback position. So that absolutely goes a long way. Just that Ole Miss system is so sketchy. I don't
Hey
know.
man, Jackson
Nuts.
Dart, first round draft pick. I mean, I'm not going to fight
I
it.
know.
Not going to fight
I
it.
know. We
So
can't, right? The
yeah,
evidence is there.
it's there.
I'm gonna go with number 81 overall on my Devy big board, and that is Miso Bennett, the wide receiver out of South Carolina, who honestly was a no name for a lot of people coming out as a high school recruit, but stood out to me big time with the route running savviness. And last year he definitely showcased his ability, being one of the primary weapons on that offense. And I kind of like the fact that he's playing alongside Nick Harbor, who looks like he's coming on and could be that high caliber receiver as well, which you talked about earlier. That is going to take a lot of pressure off Mizzou. He's going to get more opportunities, more looks, and just add on to his already great profile that he started early on in his college career. I mean, he is a savvy route runner. Those separation, those breaks, he shows manipulation. It's crisp, it's clean at the break point, and whether it's an in or out breaking route, you see that even at the size of the 5'11", 185, which is normally what we look for, at that 5'11", like 190, 195 is beautiful. But below 190 is not that big of a deal. But he's just so crisp and fluid in his breaks. Reminds me a little bit of Antonio Williams when we were scouting his ALL22 film. So very excited about Miso Bennett, and I could see him moving up with another great year at South Carolina.
Yeah, I love that call. It's going to be an exciting year there for sure. All right, hold your ears, Jason, because you're not going to believe the name I'm going to be throwing out here for you. Okay, because
No way.
we've trashed this player now for years, but not that I'm saying I'm back on board. But again, if the exercise is to look at a player whose value could really increase, I've learned one thing in the scouting over the years is that you have to be open to a player getting better. And I'm going to talk about Barian Brown, wide receiver, going to LSU.
Okay.
All right. So this isn't some deep dive, episode.
Right.
This is just players that I believe can increase their values. The spring news is that he's excelling, 6'1", 182 pounds. He's got that really nice, like perfect size, height, weight. If he's like maybe a little closer to 190, it might be nice, but he's going to be starting along the both Anderson boys, right? And Nussmeier's going to be slinging the rock, and they got a great running game. And we watched it. We've done the ALL22 film breakdowns on him, right? The thing that we came away with his hands, right? He didn't seem to have the strongest hands. He had some drops in the slight frame. He seemed to get moved off coverage. However, he is a versatile player he's explosive. He's fast as shit. He can, return punts and kicks. So he's a versatile player. I think the NFL will like, and I like his size. And I'm going to give the dude the benefit of the doubt, Jason. I'm going to keep my eyes open. I'm going to be going into the season with an open mind. But he's the kind of player that could really have a great season and all of a sudden now put his name back on the map. So Barian Brown is somebody I'm interested in and think with a good season, he could creep up into my top 50.
I could see that, man. I remember Terrace Marshall ran the same seam route 3 different times against Missouri while he was at LSU. Long touchdowns. And I'm just thinking, man, you put Barian Brown in that Terrace Marshall world, different sizes, but the same type of long speed seam route. Just tell him to go downfield and catch the ball. Hopefully he catches the ball and he could have a really, really nice season in that particular type of role. So I get it, man. I
But
totally
why are
understand.
you staining my player with a Terrence Marshall like thing? That's like that's a
It's the
stain.
role, not the player.
Oh my
Different sizes.
goodness.
I think Terrace
Okay.
Marshall's like 200
Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah, what a great
Okay.
comp. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. I got your
Yeah.
back, buddy. Let's see. Where was I going with this? Anyway, okay. This is a guy that I think with the with finally having the opportunity to himself, most likely in this backfield, he could really elevate his game, and that is going to be Jam Miller, the Alabama
Mm.
running back, who I currently have at 87. If you watch Jam Miller, you see that once he gets the ball in his hands, he can get downfield quickly. Like he's got some jets on him, and the pass catching upside is absolutely there. It's always been the vision between the ears with him, not knowing how to navigate between the trenches. If we see improvement there and he has a productive season, we know now that all it takes is 1 year of solid production coming from a team like Alabama for you to catch the eyes of NFL, caliber coaches and scouts. And then you have a great combine, which he does have athletics upside to really do well at the combine. You could find yourself in a good position come NFL draft time. I think Jam Miller could be that guy. So I'm kind of excited for what he could bring this upcoming season.
Yeah, he reminds me of Zamir White. Okay, my next player that I want to talk about is a wide receiver. Okay, that you and I
Nicely
have.
done.
What's yeah, you get that? All right. Um,
Yeah.
Dane Key, I want to talk about. All right, because I think you and I
Oh
are
yeah.
pretty higher on Dane Key, 6'3"
Yeah.
receiver, over 200 pounds. He's going to be playing in Nebraska with Dylan Raiola this year. Goes from Kentucky. He's going to be a true senior. So he had 3 years at Kentucky. He was probably frustrated with the quarterback play there. Now he's going to get a guy that can actually sling the rock. He's going to play in the X. And, looking at the receivers going into the draft next year, I think it's outside the one or two top guys. I mean, I don't think there is a top guy in the wide receiver room right now. I think he could legitimately, if he has a great season,
Mhm.
and the guy's got great route running chops, strong hands. I like his
Yeah.
body control on the sidelines. He made some great catches last season in the end zone and just found a way to get open. So I like Dane Key a lot. He is in my top. I don't know where exactly he is. My list is missing
Where
at this
do I
moment,
have?
but um,
I have him at 54, so I completely agree with everything you're
I got
saying.
him at like 54 to 53, like around Eugene Wilson and Darius Taylor, Le'Veon Moss, kind of in that range. But
Mhm.
I think Dane Key is a little underrated. I mean, we live in a
Yeah,
world. What have you done for me lately? Right? It's like
right.
anything else in the world. Whatever gets the most noise out there is usually what's popular and what people are talking about. No one's thinking about Dane Key, but I think he could really legitimately have a great season and be one of the top receivers we're talking about next year in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, Genki stood out to me while I was watching Barry and Brown film, and that's when I brought him to your attention. Like, this kid
Hmm.
is pretty freaking good. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think being the number one target for Dylan Rail is not too bad a way to go. My number 97 overall player on my top 100 big board was a tight end going to Alabama at one point, and now a receiver at Ole Miss, and that is uh, oh my God, Caleb Odom. And I think the way that he translates from the tight end position to a receiver, being a big type of receiver in that offense with a great catch radius. When I was watching him as a tight end, I was thinking, man, he's going to be a really good tight end going to Alabama. Like this kid is definitely on my radar. Now that I understand where he's going to be in an Ole Miss system that schemes their receivers open, allows the bigger receivers to really get some run. And I'm hoping that we see a nice season from him because he could really put his name on the map. It's going to be very similar to like how Deuce Robinson was a tight end at USC, now playing receiver at FSU. I mean, both of those players could really find themselves in good positions at the receiver position because of the size and the athletic upside that they hold. But I really like him in this system. I think it's very friendly to the development of wide receivers, and I am just hoping that he could find some light this season and really put his name on the map because it would go a really long way for his Devy value.
I'll tell you what, I hope you're right, man, because I've got 3 or 4 shares of him in my Devy leagues and
I have
C2C
one.
leagues
Yep. When he
because
was coming out as a tight end, I had him.
the hype machine and
It
that
was a deep league
spring
I had.
was crazy. They showed all
Yeah.
the spring practices. He was making these crazy catches. They were saying his size and speed combo was something they'd never seen before. I thought he was this great unicorn. It was going to be, and I think I even on one of our shows projected that he was going to lead Alabama. I think it was one of our deep dive, bold predictions that
I think you're right. Yeah,
I
I
think I
remember that.
failed
Yeah.
miserably on that because I said that he was going to lead the Alabama wide receiver room, and of
Well,
course
the
I got
hype was there and the talent's there, so I
yeah,
totally understood where you're coming from.
exactly. And I got now I got some shares, so I hope you're right. I hope he does turn it around. Last guy I want to talk about, my 5th player. I want to talk about Jordan Marshall, running back from Michigan. I've got him at
That's a good one.
number where is he? I just saw him, number 82. So really bummed when Justice Haynes ended up transferring to Michigan. I'm not going to lie. I was really kind of hoping now with the Donovan Edwards and, that whole running back room kind of wide open. He's still going to be the number 2 guy, number 2 running back in Michigan. I kind of did a little research here. Averages 132 carries over the last 4 seasons. They are going to be passing the ball a little bit more, it sounds like, from when we talked about last week on the podcast when I profiled that tight end as a deep dive player. But Jordan Marshall, again, I went back in my freshman film, looking at his high school film. There's not much on tape from him last year at Michigan, getting the ball in really any kind of meaningful way. So, but I still have hope for Jordan Marshall. I have a ton of shares of him. I was excited about him when he came out 2 years ago. So he's going to be my 5th player.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. It would not surprise me if they try to get him in there with Justice Haynes.
I'm
think he's
hoping
got
that that's
kind
what
of talent.
happens and they get him the ball and see what we got with him.
Right.
Oh, is that it? Is that number 5 for me?
Yeah.
You did 5
Yeah,
too?
I think we did 5. I think we're good.
That's
I hope
great.
we're good.
I'm sitting here thinking you got one more, but I guess you don't. So, well, there
I
you guys got
another one if you want one.
No, we got tons of them. We got to just look at our list here. We got tons of players that we're hoping that hit on Dynasty rosters. So that was a good exercise, fun nonetheless.